I've got blue souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Count my bones as in desert crumbs flow. I'm gonna turn all of my stones.
Rock bottom make a man and some pressure make a gemstone. Trying to put a dollar to my name like Creflo. Naja boy, late to the game, it's in the blood flow. And I'm from the south, it's thick skin and tough bone. Big attitude through big lips with gusto. Trust no kings, that's why they tried to crush souls. But it's IGBO, when the dust blow, this old head be standing there. No silver, just gold. Crack no books on the hustle, I was born to grind. Yo, scared of your potential, I'm adorned with mine. 30 times around the sun, man, of course I shine. A legacy will not dwarf with time. And in my daughter's eyes, it's basic, I must not say quit. Every day sees a present like a Rob St. Nick. Walk a fine line between tenacious and patient. I can't slip, I'm fighting clocks and they can't win.
I've got blue souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Count my bones as in desert crumbs flow. I'm gonna turn all of my stones. I've got blue souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Ooh, that soldier in the mirror, oh oh. I'm gonna turn all of my stones.
Impeccably I flow, hardest raps you know. Breaking status quo, reaping what I sow. Artistry like Django, get it from my mama hip, so thick that I need tempo. Personality, spicy body banging like a bongo. Cause black women been it since Timbuktu since Pharaoh. Sponge rollers and hot combs, lips, cheeks and brow bones. If you ain't for the culture, then please stay out of my zone. These little dummy rappers could never grace my headphones. See, I'm from a place in space where ain't no storytelling, you just had to have been there. If you want the battle, ain't no problem, say where. I got so much experience, I can't even play fair. But I'ma keep evolving and growing and hurting feelings and showing. You need endurance to go in, I got mileage on this pen. I've been busy cause I've been out here schooling all these kids. Took 3 decades to have this glow up that I did.
I've got blue souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Count my bones as in desert crumbs flow. I'm gonna turn all of my stones. I've got blue souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Ooh, that soldier in the mirror, oh oh. I'm gonna turn all of my stones. All of my
you guys were checking shoes last night to see if he was barefoot. Is that still the case? Is he barefoot? Because I know on Facebook somebody posted a picture of these could be his shoes, or is that so he is presumed to be barefoot at this point?
What I can say is that his mom says all of his shoes are accounted for at the house. I'm not going to say that he's barefoot.
All right.
Allegedly!
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Lady Freedom here coming at you with another raw narrative. Here's a brief disclaimer for tonight's show. Let's watch.
That's ignorant! Allegedly, that's ignorant! Ignorant.
Judgment, Alfred.
Oi, you read my thoughts. You've got the shinin.
You mean shining?
Shh, you wanna get sued?
Judgment, Alfred.
You just use that shin of yours to call me and I'll come a-running. But don't be reading my mind between 4 and 5. That's Willie's time.
Hey, yo, boss. I love it when he does that.
Let's watch.
Don't get me back to good bullshit.
Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. This is Lady Freedom here coming at you with another raw narrative. And it's so good to see you guys tonight. Thank you all for being here. Sorry I skipped the day show today. I was at the beach yesterday and went kayaking. I was telling Dan because he's asking how the beach was. And yeah, it was very pretty out. It was, it wasn't too hot, but went kayaking for the first time on the ocean. I mean, I've done that in freshwater, but never in saltwater. So that was really fun. And just really zonked out today though. And hey, Chuchi, thank you for being here. Thank you so much for putting in the blue hearts for Devlin. So we were going to do a day show about Devlin, but we decided to, just move it up a little bit. And thank you so much for hitting the like button. Little Miss Sharon, thank you so much for coming in also and playing the mullet card. Good to see you, Little Miss Sharon. And I do hope everyone had a great Easter as well. Thank you, Chuchi. Yeah, I hope you guys had a great Easter. Um, I saw a lot of Easter egg pictures or like Easter egg hunting or, Easter basket. So cute. I hope you guys had a wonderful day. It's so fun for the little ones, and it's fun for the adults because we get to hide the eggs. So, and good to see you. Gail is here. So good to see you, Gail. She says, we are Sebastian and Devlin's army. Thank you, Gail. And Andrea is here. Good to see you, Andrea. And Marion, so good to see you. And Coffee Crime and Cats is here. Thank you for being here, Coffee Crime and Cats. And hello to Dan. And Jen is here. Jen's playing that mullet card. Where are all these kids, y'all? I know, Jen. Oh my gosh, we talk about it all the time, right? Um, Jen and I are always theorizing about cases and everything. Um, it's we know that they didn't just disappear, and I think that's the hardest part is that we know they didn't go poof, right? But maybe somebody helped them go poof or something like that. Oh, I'm so glad you're here though, Jen. Thank you for being here. Um, Brenda is here. Hey, Brenda, good to see you. Hey, Brad, good to see Brad in the house tonight. And so good to see all of you guys, even everybody in the bushes. So, a couple of things with Devlin's case. I understand that some people are a little bit confused because I know that many of us are going to have our theories as to what happened to Devlin, right? Because there's not a whole lot of information. I want to share a couple of the most recent updates again tonight because I know not everybody gets to catch every show. But definitely go watch the replays. So it's difficult when you're talking to the family members, right? And you're trying to gather information in the beginning. You're also building a little bit of trust, right? Because you don't know them. The family's always the ones that we look at first, right? We're gonna look at the family members and then we're gonna go outwards, right? And it's important to do that quickly. Um, I got onto Devlin's case at the 5 month mark. And so there was a lot of misinformation out there already. And I was sifting through everything. But that's why I decided to get a hold of the family, which I don't do that very often, or, I haven't been doing this very long either. But um it's not the top priority, but because there was so much back and forth, right? And then there was so much out there, I just figured it would be a good idea. And also, Devlin's case hadn't gotten the kind of attention that many of the other cases have, right? And every case deserves to have attention on it. The YouTubers, we should all be talking about cases, and that's why I try to integrate other cases as well into Sebastian's case, because again, we see these patterns in true crime, and that's why I like to examine the cases. I like to talk about them as they are, but then I also like to compare and contrast some of the behaviors, some of the statements, some of the body language. We have Letitia Stout, for instance, not showing herself on camera, right? But her stepson is missing, and he's the last one to be with her, right? And then she's the last to be with him. So it's the same situation, except for we have a biological mom. Hey Sasha, good to see you, Women's Warrior and Cinderella. Welcome in, guys. So yeah, I mean, we're we definitely see the similarities. Then we have Chris and Katie that are doing the only hands interview. Some people call it sausage fingers, but they're just showing their hands. Oh, we're far too emotional. Off the top of my head, I can't remember what Letitia's excuse was, but there was an excuse, no less, why she didn't want to show herself. Oh, I think it was because she was afraid. I think that's what it was. Either way, they were saying the same things as well. Everybody's bashing us. Everybody's out to get us, that sort of thing. And then we're looking at cases too that have already been convicted. Now, Letitia's case obviously is a different story. There's been some developments in that, and so I'd like to get into that a little bit later on. But yeah, it's well, it baloney gate, says Sasha. Yeah, I mean, it's bull crap. You know, we all know it. We can see it, and it comes down to proving it. You know, and so with Devlin's case, I spoke with his mom, who is his biological mother, and then I spoke with his um, grandma, right? Or adopted sister, because he was adopted by Bill and Sandra Tait. And so he looked at Sandra as mom, right? And Bill as dad. He didn't know his biological mother throughout his life. She did come into his life when he was 18. No one for me, in my opinion, night court, right? The public opinion here uh, is cleared, in my opinion, right? But do I see that there are certain people that are absolutely trying to keep Devlin's name out there in the family? Yes. Yes. And I see other people not doing that. And the people that are going to do that, I'm going to give them a platform, right? Whether they're the ones that had direct involvement, which I don't believe that, or not, right? If they want to come up here and say something, I have to give them the space to do it, because if I don't, then I'm not helping Devlin. And it's about Devlin. It's not about how I feel or think. It's about Devlin and finding him. So that's just where I stand with things. So I know that there's going to be a lot of people out there that is going to say, you know what? I think Sabrina has involvement. I think maybe even, God rest his soul, Will has involvement. Maybe some of you think Tamara has involvement. Maybe you think Jessica does. Maybe you think he was lured. Devlin had a lot of people he was talking to, guys, not just the family here is should be looked at, right? So we have to venture out, especially with what law enforcement has told us. And that's where we always have to try to follow the facts in the case. And so when law enforcement comes out and they tell us that the family is cleared, in their opinion is far better than my opinion, in my opinion. Okay, and it's because they're coming out to tell us this information. Now, I'm not saying let's go from one person to the other and accuse anybody of doing anything here, right? That's not what I'm saying. But speculating is fair to do, and we need to speculate. We have to speculate, otherwise we'll never fill in the blanks. So with that being said, law enforcement came out and said that the family has been cleared, and that they're thinking that there could be some more options in terms of, you know, foul play, perhaps. They were thinking in the beginning that Devlin ran away. Now, this is what's important to remember as we watch this. Devlin was only caught on camera in one place that day, and that was Carl's Supermarket. And that was around 8:21 a.m. in the parking lot. He was seen. He did go in there. He did buy some food and something to drink. And then he left and walked to Lako Laundry. But Lako Laundry doesn't have the cameras up and running because they're doing an update. And so they were off all week. The only footage that was captured of Devlin that morning has been erased. It no longer exists. And we thought we might have some of that, but we don't. Because law enforcement thought that Devlin ran away because he had court the next day. So Devlin went missing the day after Easter of last year, even though Easter is in the beginning of the month this year. So today would have been the day that Devlin went missing, right? The day after Easter, except for last year. So his actual missing date is April 21st, 2025. And he's not been seen or heard from since. It's very unlike Devlin to not contact his people. And when I say his people, I mean his adoptive mother, his biological mother, his sister Tammy or grandma. Um, Sabrina, he and Sabrina were having issues. So Sabrina was blocked off of the phone, right? But then she was still friends with him on Facebook, apparently. Um, but he also had friends, many friends, and he's very well known in the community. That he would have reached out to by now. So that's what is the major concern, and that's why even the police are saying we don't know that he ran away because he would have, we would think he would have turned up. He's not the one to be in the house all the time either, guys. So if he's being held somewhere, that would be the only thing I can think of why he wouldn't have gotten a hold of somebody or made it to his mom's in Arizona. I think something happened at Lori's at the phone. Was ditched by the parapro, my speculation, opinion, allegedly. Well, I know, and I'd like to get the dogs out there to try to sniff out, because Jules has the one, she has dogs that are trained to sniff out electronics. So I know you were here too, Sasha, the other night when we were talking, or excuse me, the other day when we were talking about uh, Lori, right? Lori is one of not the direct neighbor, but she lives nearby. And Devlin was allegedly staying in her barn sometimes, but she had asked him not to do that. Um, and then we have the parapro, and that's Joni. And Joni was in contact with Devlin 2 days before he went missing, but says that she wasn't in contact with him, on Easter Sunday or on Monday, even though Devlin, the last phone ping was at 11:30 p.m. that night over by the Parapros, right in the trailer park. That's just right in town. Not far from Devlin's house. And I've said it before, when it comes to the last ping, it really throws everything off, because you would think that maybe Devlin got into a vehicle or he went walking somewhere. So the fact that Sabrina said that he may have been at the Parapros when she called it in, that's always been something that stuck with me, as well as how late the phone pinged, because they called him in around 10 or 10:30, right? This dispatch audio is from about 10:32 p.m. that night. Hey, Miss Ann. Well, good to see you, and I hope you had a happy Easter. So, I mean, there's so much that is even going on, after that, because obviously he would have been hanging around somewhere in town for his phone to have been, last ping there, unless he was headed back home. But the thing about it is that Devlin was usually home earlier, and he also had court the next day. The latest that he was ever supposed to be out was a court appointed curfew of 10 p.m. So, hey, Women's Warrior, none of them are convicted, and we have no proof of any suspects yet. So, determine us no suspects yet. So, we should have a platform. Yeah, usually guilty don't speak out and keep cases alive. Well, I mean, I think sometimes the guilty people do speak out, Women's Warrior, but I get what you're saying. I mean, I think that I'm not going to accuse someone who has continuously been trying to find Devlin. I can't do that, right? I mean, for the longest, and even Jessica got pissed off at me because I said, I don't think Tammy knows, right? Because that's what she calls Tamara. I'll call her Tam because that's what he has told me to, call her. But either way, I told her that in the beginning. I said, I don't think she knows I don't think she has involvement, right? But then she was upset with me. They all do. They're all involved, all of them. I'm like, maybe they are, And then I'm talking to his mom, even though I know, like I said earlier, she's not, been in his life, but that's still his mom, biologically speaking, And then we have Sandra, who is his, adoptive mom, who would also know him best. I mean, better than anyone, really, because she's been with him his whole life. This family of his has been with him his whole life, and they deserve to be able to speak if they want to. Um, I'm not going to go, I'm not going to have a panel where we just go, ham over this, that, or the other. I mean, look, they wanted to come up here and they wanted to hash it out. And I was like, no, we're not going to do that. Right. So we said Matt stays in the chat, Jessica's up on the panel, and we worked it that way because that's what we have to do. But I'm going to work with the family as long as they want to work with me or talk to me, or if there's information they want me to look into or get some information out to you guys. I'm going to do that, and I understand that a lot of people might say, well, Lady Freedom, why are you on Tamara's side now? And I'm not. I'm on Devlin's side, and I have to stay on Devlin's side. And if Tamara's doing things for Devlin, then I would like to help out with it as much as I can. And I understand if people think that there's still some involvement. I understand that. And it's not that I don't. It's just that I've done a lot of fact checking when it comes to Tamara's story. I've done a lot of fact checking with Jessica. I've done a lot of fact checking with Sabrina. I just have. And so when I'm checking facts and the facts are coming back and Tamara's not lying to me, and then, there were a couple of things in the beginning I think that were dishonest, but I think it was more because it's like nobody would like their life just, pried into, and look, I think it's nice of her to come up and talk um about Devlin. You know what I'm saying? So I'm grateful to have any of the family members come up, you know. Well, there was allegedly one of the canines, and it was on the SAR map, had hit up near there. But see, he usually takes those routes. He travels some of those routes so regularly, it wouldn't surprise me if there was scents picked up on a lot of those routes. Just because he walks them so regularly, So I also want to have the panel with James also. I need to get that together. But I did schedule us for Zachary and Cindy Vidal this week. With K9 Jules will be up with us, so we'll be able to ask her questions as well. So Gail says, I wondered if one of those women were the one Devlin said forced him to do something inappropriate. Just makes you wonder. Gail, I've been wondering about that as well. So I've asked Tamara about it. She doesn't know who that could have possibly been. And the thing is when he told Jessica, she didn't ask like who it was or tell him to go to the police station, because I would have said go to the police station. And I know that maybe with boys we don't think about it like that, but we need to. In my opinion, it because they are also you know victims of predatory behavior. Well, the thing is, Sasha, is that I know that they were fighting, and I think that Devlin didn't want to be there sometimes. Now, again, Not everything is going to be 100%. Not everybody's telling the truth all the time. I don't know if he was getting locked out regularly or what, or if it was something different. Um, and that's true, Sasha. A lot of times these people, yeah, they insert themselves in cases on purpose for multiple reasons to get information, dupers, delay, and narcissism. Yeah, they do. And they love to talk, they do. Brenda says that Tamara seemed to be side-eyeing Matt in the last conversation. I don't think she knows either. Yeah, and Brenda, I'm going back to the Crime Time Buzz interview. When Jay was talking to her, she told Jay, like, hey, I don't know, but Matt and Devlin were having a pissing match the last time, and he was the last one to speak with Devlin. So I think she's felt, a certain type of way in the beginning even. And then, of course, no one's going to like if we go into, but I think she's been a very good sport about it because, I mean, hey, like if I didn't have involvement, I wouldn't want people asking me all these questions either. But like I just didn't do it. But then again, there's been things that have come back. Even speaking with Pastor Marilyn. So, um, oh hey Tamara, I didn't even know that you were going to be awake. I was going to text you and tell you I would be on here. Good to see you and thank you for being here. I hope you guys had a good Easter. Um, Lady, what if we went home and couldn't get in and he walked back to the teaching assistant home where the phone pinged? How far from TA is Lori's home? Because maybe the teach and Lori need a closer look. Well, I mean, I will tell you, when Piper did the interview of both of them, and I have both of their interviews, Women's Warrior, if you ever wanted to use them or, whatever you'd like to do, share them or something. But, they they do know each other. I mean, it's a small place, but Lori was kind of acting very much like she knew her, and then the parapro was acting like she didn't really know her. So that was interesting, you know? Did you find out if I can send Tamara some jewelry I've made? Yeah, Tamara, if you want to answer that, thank you, Miss Ann. I didn't know if you had a P.O. box or, um, which one for and also Tamara, if you have any updates, I did share out the flyer. I should share it out again. But if you have any updates, like if you guys got a spot, also feel free to share that too. No, I think it's a valid question. Um, yeah, they were doing the scent dogs at first. They were. So she told Jessica about an older woman. Well, and they were also talking about the jobs too, and I didn't really, Tamara and I talked about that. Wouldn't believe about the jobs either, because I never heard Jessica say that. Okay, Tamara's saying he did not get locked out. I could not lock him out per LE. Right, because he lives there, right? Is that what you mean per LE? Like he lives there? So, and thank you for clarifying. I'm a little bit behind in chat, guys. I know. Maybe Devlin actually did arrive home. Well, to the best of my knowledge, he didn't that night. So, no, she doesn't have a P.O. box. Do you mind if I give Miss Ann your address? Have they gotten cameras of the home and the parapro? Well, see, there wasn't any. Hey, Hope Floats, good to see you. Hey, hon, I hope you had a good Easter. So with the parapro, and correct me if I'm wrong too, Tamara. So as far as I know, with the parapro, they got the cameras, right? Um, from certain angles in the trailer park, but not well, because there was allegedly cameras at the front, but nobody's house picked up anything, as far as I know. Um, but nothing picked up anything. So, uh, I don't have a spot yet. We have a save the date for April 18th. Okay, great. All right, wonderful. And that's going to be the Saturday. Yes, I don't have my calendar here. Let me look really quick. So that'll be, oh, great. That's wonderful. A save the date, and that's that Saturday, I think. Yeah. Well, fantastic. Okay, great. All right, great. I just, I mean, people can be nutty. I know Miss Ann's not going to do anything crazy. Hey, Holly, I'll vouch for Miss Ann, but I just don't like to give people. I mean, obviously, we've pulled your house up, but I didn't really ever give the. Um, oh my gosh, hopeful it's I know. And you know what? Everything's been popping off lately on the internet. It's just been very crazy for me myself too. So I'm glad you're here. Um, and Sasha says, so then he wasn't at the Parapros, just his phone was. Are the cameras near his home to see if he really arrived? That's a good question, Sasha. I mean, here's the thing. I don't know. Like, if somebody took Devlin's phone and brought it back over there and pinged it, I mean, maybe that was their intention. Um, so once he got his I gotcha. So when he got his court ordered curfew, he always came home. Thank you. Yeah, I was telling everyone there was a 10 o'clock imposed curfew. So give me 1 second here, guys. Okay, so this is going to be the first update video. Now, I showed these and we did a live and everything about them, but this has been a while. So they came out and Susan Samples was doing an investigative story, right, on Devlin, which we were like, okay, great. And we thought maybe we would get that footage, but we didn't end up getting it. So just, spoiler alert for the video. But this is what I put out when they came out with that.
There's a plea for help tonight from the family of a young man missing now for nearly 10 months. Devlin Tait was 18 years old when he vanished last April from the village of Lake Odessa in Ionia County. His family is still searching for answers to where Tait is, hoping for any new tips or leads. Target 8 investigators Susan Samples has been digging into the puzzling mystery for a special report set to air Sunday after the Super Bowl and Olympics.
Somebody knows something, somebody saw something. Wish they would come forward, whether it be to us or to law enforcement, and tell them what they saw, what they heard, what they know.
It's not just Devlin Tait's family that's hoping to reignite efforts to find him.
I mean, guys, I think someone knows. I think someone knows where Devlin is or what happened. I mean, even if it was a situation where someone accidentally hit him while he was walking down the road, in my opinion, someone knows, right? And it's something where we need people to come out if they know. If they know information, please come forward, because someone knows something, and a year is too long.
The Ionia County Sheriff's Department, for the first time, is talking about this investigation, the evidence, what it suggests, what they're still trying to figure out. And Target 8 has obtained 911 calls from this investigation, the police reports, and video of Devlin Tait. Watch Missing Devlin Tait. It airs after the Super Bowl and the Olympics. I'm Target 8 investigator Susan Samples.
Nobody's heard from him all day, and we have no idea where he's at.
It's hard. The rumors, assumptions, accusations, theories.
You know, an 18-year-old doesn't just usually walk off and disappear.
Why are you sitting down for an interview about Devlin Tait's disappearance now?
A Target 8 special investigation, Sunday night after the Super Bowl and the Winter Games.
Okay, guys, and that's the undersheriff. That is the undersheriff that we just saw. So let me take this down and share this one. And I would love for them to do another one of these.
It's a missing person mystery that's gripped a West Michigan community and left a hole in its heart. What happened to 18-year-old Devlin Tait? In April, it will be 1 year since Tait, who has disabilities that make him vulnerable, walked through a grocery store parking lot in Ionia County's Lake Odessa and vanished. Tonight, for the first time, the Sheriff's Department is lifting the veil on its investigation and sat down with Target 8 investigator Susan Samples to do it.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to Bob's Barn. You're going to be watching Easy Idle String Band. You're going to love these guys.
It's not just the bluegrass that beckons. There's a come-as-you-are camaraderie at Bob's Barn.
See, this place is nobody complains about anybody.
Everyone's welcome at Bob's Barn Jamboree, where the Sunday concerts are free and the post-show mic open.
Devlin came in one day and he liked the music.
Singing hallelujah.
Okay, guys, so that's Devlin right there, and I kind of put him in the background today. Well, I have this. I put this up before, but you know, Devlin loved music. He loved to go up to Bob's and sing, right? I know Cinderella, isn't this the best? I mean, I'm glad that they have this as well, you know, on their page, and they have Devlin's missing information. You know, and this was the 10-month mark, right? So this was just a couple of months ago. But they're showing like the places where Devlin used to like to hang out. And there was a couple of places. The one thing that concerns me about the day that Devlin went missing is that he didn't go to Penny's for pizza. And I mean, I don't know about you guys. I like pizza, and I'm not missing out on free pizza or somebody that says that they're going to, you know, allow me to get pizza. So, I mean, he went there every day. It was part of his routine. You know what I'm saying? That part is concerning. It's concerning, very much so. Aw, I know. You know, Sasha, it's just a sweet song, and you know, he dedicated even songs to people when he get up there. So, but the chair is not relevant. It's some BS that was started last year. Yeah, and I mean, here's the thing. Like, so someone tells me that there's a chair that was in the house that was, you know, and then we also addressed the fire too, because we were thinking that if the chair is no longer there and then there was a fire, that maybe they, you know, torched the chair, right? And we did speculate on that, but Tamara was saying that there wasn't a fire that happened for a couple of days. So, all right, let's go on.
He did 2 numbers here.
2 songs on 2 Sundays. No one doubted the young relative newcomer would be back.
And this is where the part that when I was recording the one song that the dude was singing, it went black. That's what's been going on with my phone lately, so.
And he had his phone with him all the time.
Okay, guys, so he had his phone with him all the time. The phone, that was the most recent clip from Bob's, where he was saying his phone, good night, Chuchi, was not working properly, right? It was going to the black screen. He's trying to use it to sing along, and then the screen just goes black. We do know that he picked up a charger as well on Easter Sunday, and he had a charging box as well, according to what I was told.
If you spent any time in the town locals call Laco, you couldn't miss one thread in his fabric. 18-year-old Devlin Tait.
He was constantly walking around, Lake Odessa, visiting his favorite spots, hanging out at McDonald's, going to the laundry.
So looks like I might not even be able to do it because I'm not even able to go to the home screen or nothing. Yep.
The next day he came up missing.
Pioneer County Central Dispatch. Hi, my name is Sabrina Cook, and my nephew Devlin Tait has been gone since 7:30 this morning. Nobody's seen him since 8:15.
Devlin Tait was last seen at 8:15 a.m. the day he disappeared at Carl's Market here in Lake Odessa. Surveillance cameras showed him walking east through the store's parking lot.
Okay, so the surveillance allegedly picked him up in Carl's parking lot heading east, but then they got rid of the footage.
That video no longer exists.
Okay, and we all thought that the video was of him checking out, which they probably had that video obviously as well, because we know that he checked out using his bridge card, and we know it was like a $13 purchase, right? Like $12 and some change. And again, Tamara, if I get something wrong, just correct me in the chat. I don't take offense to it at all. I just want to make sure we get the right information. So the phone. Yeah, the phone, right? Because he always had his phone. Now, his phone wasn't keeping charge. And then we were talking about how he was also charging his phone at Laco Laundry that morning, right? But he was probably on it, using it while he's charging it. We know that he talked to Matt. I hope they find him too, Brad. Thank you. Did he have his own car? No, he was always on foot. He did not have his driver's license. So Devlin does have challenges, right? Where he has autism. He also has a chromosome deletion. He has cerebral palsy. There was quite a few things that Devlin, struggled with, but he also was extremely intelligent. He was able to navigate through town. He would, he would always be on foot. So that was one thing that was always something that stood out to me as well, was because Devlin wouldn't have gotten lost per se, right? He wasn't lost, and he wouldn't have just gotten lost. And that's because he's absolutely capable of navigating. He also would walk to neighboring towns with ease, right? He knew the route. He knew how to get there and back. Thank you, Miss Ann. Yes, I will hit you up on Facebook Messenger. Because Miss Ann says I always like to help a fellow Michigander. Are you guys Michiganders, Ann? Or because that's where I'm from. That's so sweet. Yeah, I mean, and just helping each other out is huge, right? We have to, and it's for Devlin. That's who we're doing it for. We're all getting together, and that's what we need to be doing. So he didn't drive, he walked everywhere. Yeah, and he was very good. And another thing too with Devlin, he remembers people's phone numbers. He remembers things. He's got a great memory, very good with numbers. So he would have called, in my opinion. So no car, but then there was possibly a car involved. There was possibly Devlin walking on foot also. Was an appeal made to public for any dash cam footage or home CCTV, Ring doorbell camera footage in the area? I believe so. That's a good question, though, Women's Warrior, that Tamara could probably answer. What did he talk to Matt about? Is Matt with Tamara? Can she ask him by chance? I mean, they just said that they when Matt was here, he said that when he talked to Devlin, they were having the pissing match going back and forth. And, you know, then he talked to him for about 30 minutes, but they were going back and forth with each other. Um, Nothing was caught on camera. I didn't think so. Tamara says I've reached out many times for members of our community to check ring cams, but nothing. Yeah, and people were definitely checking, right? I mean, you could see in the beginning all the activity on Facebook. People looking for Devlin, where's Devlin, right? Like it was just very much um back and forth, you know. Yeah, you guys aren't talking right now. Yeah, I don't blame you. I do not blame you. But yeah, so we thought there was a video. We were gonna see some video of him checking out. I assumed that we would see some video of him checking out, you know, and buying his items or something like that. What Susan is saying is that it was actually video of him walking through the parking lot heading east. So, and Matt, I haven't discounted that because of his internet usage, right? Um, Now he's a little older. He was just shy of his 19th birthday, and he's got a birthday coming up, which should make him 20 this year.
Because no one thought to save it at the time, thinking Tait may have left voluntarily, either to avoid a court hearing scheduled for the next day, or he had mentioned trying to get to Arizona to live with his birth mom. But in the 10 months since, investigators say there's been no sign of Devlin Tait anywhere. Not here, not in Arizona.
Do you feel like he's still alive?
In my heart, no. It's been almost 40 weeks without a word from him, and he would have called Mama.
No activity on his cell phone, no social media. No one's used his food assistance card either, which still has $200 on it.
Sabrina, do you think that he's still with us?
My heart wants to say so.
Okay, guys, so the big thing for me also is this food card. So allegedly, Devlin didn't have any extra money, and this would have been some currency for him, right? Whether it was to sustain him with his hunger or if it was to trade off for a ride somewhere. But it was never used after Carl's, and it still hasn't been used because Tamara has, you know, access to that. So, um, yeah, exactly. It is. It's very it- it's very sad, and especially approaching the year mark. Women's Warrior says, Tamara, that's so sad. I would be so frustrated and worried as well as devastated. Sending love and prayers to you. I can't even begin to imagine what it must be like for you and your family. Yeah, I mean it's rough, right? I mean, to say the least. And then on top of it, just these little unknowns where we're seeing, you know, just a lot of um things that aren't adding up, aren't making sense about the whole situation. Again, with the food card not being used, with him not calling and talking to, you know, Sandra, which is mama, right? Just the whole 9 yards.
Moving on and losing hope is like giving up on my family. And that was something that I was taught you don't do. You don't give up on family.
The sheriff's department isn't giving up either. The earliest lead, a successful phone ping the night Tait went missing, before the cell phone, which deputies never found, stopped responding.
Both phone pings that came back were local. They were near trailer parks. Now, keep in mind, a phone ping is not a precise location.
The ping showed Tait's cell phone bouncing off a tower near the Lakewood Estates mobile home park. For context, that's less than a mile from Carl's Market, the last seen location. Tait lived here with his grandma, aunt, and his aunt's boyfriend.
Okay, guys, so this is a really great map right here. So we have Carl's, you know, and this is where his phone ended up pinging, but much later at night, right? So Carl's was in the morning, 8:15-ish, right? And then Lako Laundry is probably right about here, or maybe even on the corner over here. But that was at about 9:30, right? And then we have all the way to 11:30 p.m. the phone pings over here. And again, Devlin would have been walking home that night because he had court in the morning.
Less than a mile from Lakewood Estates, via the shortcut Tait was known to take to visit the woman on the other end of this 911 call.
I'm just concerned because he is a former student in a classroom I worked at, and he comes up periodically and talks to me, but they said that his phone was pinging and they thought he was inside my house.
Okay, so again, guys, this is weird, right? Because now we have another call. The first one we heard was Sabrina calling in Devlin being missing. And hello, Kylie's Nail Candy. So she's the one that called, right? Tamara also said that she had called that night as well, right? But we haven't heard that call, but I trust that she called as well. We heard the dispatch audio, and then now we've heard Sabrina. Now here is Devlin's call, right? And or excuse me, here is the parapro's call, and she's saying Devlin, was in my class, and have you found him? And you know, it's saying his phone is pinging in my house, which I mean, there's not a way to pinpoint that unless we're doing geofencing. But they were just pinging it off the cell tower, to the best of my knowledge, not using geofencing. But again, she's calling in, and this is the next day at 6:10 p.m. right? And everyone's out looking for Devlin. It's just very odd. Excuse me. It's very odd to me.
Well, that's a little hard to go to sleep after that. And they never found him. And I'm wondering what's going on.
We've interviewed everybody that knew or was familiar with Devlin in the area that the phone picked.
None are suspects, and neither is Tait's family, which was investigated early on, says Undersheriff Andrew Buchholz. No confirmed sightings of Tait either, despite the community's efforts.
What's the likelihood that somebody's going to stumble across his body this spring in Ionia County?
Unfortunately, and the likelihood is there, whether that's accidental, whether it's foul play.
Investigators put the odds of accidental versus foul play at 50-50, saying they simply have no evidence leaning either way, despite endless and sometimes incendiary speculation online and on the street.
I've been in this town for 28 years, and people were literally looking at me as if I was disgusting to them, as if I did something wrong.
Tait's family hopes he's holed up with someone who's helping him. And even though they are not considered suspects,
they have volunteered to take polygraphs. We're getting them set up with polygraphs.
I don't have nothing to hide.
Why are you sitting down for an interview about Devlin Tait's disappearance now?
A couple of reasons. One is to make sure that people still are aware that Devlin is missing, that we're not giving up hope. The other thing is to get rid of any misconceptions.
The sheriff's department says if you think you know something, go to them, not social media. That is how you can help Devlin Tait take the stage again.
Oh gosh, yeah, guys, if you know, and we've talked about this in Sebastian's case, if you have information, don't give it to one of us. I mean, please, by all means, give it to the authorities. But in the same way, I understand why people would think that maybe they're not doing anything. So I think that's where we get that, that part of it where people are like, well, I'm going to give it to a YouTuber to see if they could, get it out there, because law enforcement has had it and they haven't done anything. But I do believe that they're doing everything they can. I mean, here's the thing. With there not being a whole lot of evidence as to where he might have gone, that's really where we're in a pickle. And it is scary, Brad. All these kids and teens going missing it's scary, and it's like, where did they go? Devlin had his own EBT card. He was the only one who used it. Yeah. So he had an EBT card. What I was saying about Tamara having access was that she can see now that he hasn't used it. But no, it wasn't like he was sharing it with Tamara or anything. I don't believe so. Coffee, Crime, and Cats. Shortly after, well, not even really shortly after Devlin, about 7 months later was the Rebecca Park case. But she's been found. So Yeah, it is. It is. It's very scary and sad. Yeah. And Bonanza is west, right? Northwest. It is up by, I'm not so great with north, south, east, and west, but it would have been farther east up from where the trailer park is, I think, right? Never eat soggy wheat, northeast. It'd be northeast, I believe. But did they try to call Devlin his phone to see? Um, yes. They tried to call. Now that was it. That was part of the dispatch audio. Um, they were trying to call Devlin's phone and it was going straight to voicemail. And then when I asked Sabrina when she was on the panel, did you try calling him? Did it go to voicemail? And she said that he was blocked. But then she also said later that she was calling him on the Facebook Messenger as well. So, thank you, Holly. Yeah, exactly. I know. I think Devlin has a really good heart and he liked people. I mean, he liked to be around people. He did. He liked to be around people. He liked to go and visit with people during the day. So, Holly. Aw, thanks, Holly. No, I mean, it sucks because I think people do, Holly. I think that's why they leak out information because they're like, oh, the police aren't doing enough. And um, Tamara says she called Central Dispatch, not 911. Yeah, yeah, and I understand that. I mean, at that point, you didn't know it was an emergency. Um, but thank you guys for the blue hearts. But yeah, so it's a tough situation. It really is. It's a tough situation.
He liked music, and if he is alive, I believe that they'll find him by looking where there's music.
Where do you guys think he is?
I have no clue. I hope he's safe wherever he's at. I hope he's still alive.
Okay, guys, and we do go over we went over the Joni and Piper call, right? Or their call. Yeah, she called Piper and but she never did talk about calling in anything, right? I mean, to Piper, but Piper also didn't ask and we didn't know until after this that that was even, done. So, um I mean, we just didn't know. We had no idea about it. Um Sadly. So, maybe he went to the parapro because something was going on and he thought he was going to jail and things got out of control, allegedly. Well, I mean, I was thinking maybe she could have helped him to leave town or something because I know he was, I don't know. It seems to me that he was telling her some things, but it wasn't like she was wanting to elaborate with him on them, if that makes sense. Right? Like he might go over there and talk with her, and if he brought something up that was happening, she might shrug it off, in my opinion. And I think that's kind of what we see going on. Um we had something scary happen to us today. Our house was burning down. We thought, oh, you thought your house might be burning down, Anne? Oh my goodness. Lori lives about a mile behind me to the northwest. Okay, so Lori lives behind you, and that's where Bonanza is. Okay, well then Sasha's right. I'm like, I'm not good with that. Thank you, Tamra. We really need to know who the older lady was that he was said he did something. Yeah. No, I agree. Uh It apparently was up at I'm guessing at the park, and I don't know if that would be Swifty's park. I'm familiar with that one. Um, okay, thought. Okay. Oh, I wanted to make sure I read that right, Miss Ann. Oh no. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm glad it wasn't. Oh. Okay, so I want to show you guys the interview with Joni. I think we should watch that one. Or just some parts of it. Let me see. Joni. I don't think I've ever released the one with Sabrina. Um, Let me see here. All right, Devlin's teacher's aide. Okay. Oh, okay. She does talk about the burger prank too. All right, hold on. Okay, hold on one second, guys. Sorry. All right, I didn't know if I did an intro part with that. Okay, so let's play that part so you guys can all see it. After hearing that 911 call or the call in, I think it's important to listen.
Safe with this lady that he was one of his favorite teachers and liked her so much that he knew what kind of car she drove. He knew that she lived in the area, and he found her. Like, he found where she lived because he likes her so much. So the Joni Sayer, I don't know how to say her last.
Showers.
She
The animal mother.
one of Devlin's teachers, and that's where the phone was kind of pinged last. And he felt safe with her, and I just want to hear what she has to say and about what kind of kid he was, what kind of home life he had, all that, Teachers know a lot of things. But tomorrow I have Lori Hansen in the morning, and then I have Jessica in the afternoon or evening. Hi, Joni. This is Jessica. How are you?
Hi. Good. How are you?
Good. So I hear he was a special student to you, huh?
He was. He was just a very interesting, dramatic, heart of gold. He was just, he was a cool guy. Cool guy.
Yeah.
He used to always call me a dork. And I'd say, well, it takes one to know one. He'd say, I know.
Okay, guys, so I know that she's partly talking about Devlin in past tense, but she says he was a cool guy. Was, right? We always look for those. So I just point him out. But she's also saying he used to because they, were in class together. So I'm guessing that's why she's using past tense there.
Yeah. So.
And then, so are you a teacher or are you a teacher's aide?
I was a teacher's aide.
You were a teacher's aide. You guys usually know a lot about the home life by the child. Can you maybe tell me, did he have
No, they don't share that part with us.
No. Okay.
No, not with aides. No.
Yeah, I thought maybe because he got close to you. Do you think he was on his way, like they said, to your house that night when he went missing?
I have no idea. I know that they woke me up, and I sleep hard, and they woke me up, and I went to the door in my bathrobe, and they're like, do you know Devlin Tait? And I was like, yes, why? They said, well, he's missing. I said, oh, that's not good. They said, no, and the last place his phone pinged was here. We thought he was in your house. And I go, what? They go, yeah. And I go, well, that's creepy. They said, yeah, it is. And I said, well, did you look outside my house? No, we haven't yet. I thought, well, you ding dongs, why didn't you look outside before
All right, so she calls them the ding dongs. But she also, mentions that they were talking about the very subject that we just listened to, right? But they were talking about that night. that the phone was pinging around the area, right? And then also Sabrina had said to the central dispatch that he knows Joni, that she lives over in the trailer park, that he might have gone over and said hi to her. So, and also it would have been Swifties because Swifties is the only park. So thank you. Also, Tamara says, yes, Bonanza is about a half a mile behind me. So thank you. Yeah, because that puts it in perspective of where Devlin's phone is in the area, right? And it's by her house, it's pinging, but they weren't saying inside of her house. They were asking, is he here? Right? Did he make it over here? Because Sabrina's saying that he often goes by Joni's house.
Bang my door down.
43416. Go ahead, sir. Come on over to 6 Keisha Court in the back of the trailer park with me. I might have them located here. Hey, sir.
Clear 2342.
Central 46-3.
46-3.
Back in.
2350. 16.
Can you try to call that phone number, please?
3416 from Central.
Good.
Going straight to voicemail.
Okay, thanks.
353. And,
All right, guys. So they were calling his phone. It was going straight to voicemail. So you guys heard that from dispatch.
Then they went and looked around my house and took off, and I thought, oh crap, I never looked in my house while they were here, you know?
Oh,
so then I looked at my house. I mean, there's no way he'd get in there. He's never been in my house before, but it made me sad when I heard that he was up there, because, you know, all I thought was, what if he needed help or something and I was asleep and he, you know, didn't want to wake me up, or I don't know. I don't know what went on or why he was up there. I don't know if he knew somebody else in the park. I have no clue.
So when they came and they looked, they didn't look in your home, correct? They just
did
asked
not.
you. And you said they did end up looking around your home though?
Yeah.
Did they do a
'cause
very
I asked him,
thorough
I
look
said,
or just a quick, glance look? Because
well, they went out with their flashlights in the yard, and I thought, why didn't you start there? I mean,
okay,
you know, that didn't make any sense, but
well, we all
whatever.
know that them pings kind of, you know, they kind of ping one place and it could be within a circle radius, you know, of that ping, and you just being there, possibly, you know.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Yeah, so this is what I was saying as well earlier. It's like, okay, it could have pinged right near the area, but it's a radius. It's not exact. So she seems very paranoid about that. And we also know now that she called the very next day, right? After Devlin was missing and they came to her house. But also Sabrina did point out to the police when she reported Devlin missing, and in my opinion, they have to go off what they're told.
So
yeah, it could be. I don't really know how pings work.
Did you know him to be a depressed child when he was in the classroom with you?
He just, you know, he could be moody, but all the kids in the classroom could be moody, and I'm talking about middle schoolers. So middle schoolers in general can be moody.
Yeah.
So yeah. You know, and he could be one way one minute and totally opposite the next minute. So, you know, and that's, like I said, indicative of a middle schooler, and, you know, for special needs, because he was, you know, he felt things intensely.
Right,
so,
right.
You know,
they do. Yeah, they do.
Yes.
Now,
exactly.
Did you know him to be aggressive at all, or just moody?
I never saw him be aggressive.
Okay.
But I know that, you know, he's told me before, well, I kind of got in trouble because I, you know, whatever. But he didn't tell me too many things that he did, because he knew that I would call him out on it. I would say, Devlin, why, you know, you're smart. Why would you do something like that? Because for every action, buddy, there's a consequence, you know, and you gotta you got to think about those things before you do them. I know. So he didn't really tell me a lot of things because he knew that I would call him out on things.
Okay.
You know?
And were there any problems with people that you know, like, did anybody have a problem with him that you would know of?
I'm trying to think. He said there were some kids that I'm trying to think. God, it seems like a zillion years ago. That, what did he say? They wanted him to go to a Burger King or a McDonald's or something in like Portland or somewhere. I don't remember. Whatever it was ridiculous.
Right. And we talked about this before too. Also, Tamara talked about it on Crime Time Buzz with Jay, talked about the $80 hamburger prank and that it was really ridiculous. And Devlin was upset about it, but I don't think that he believed it necessarily or anything like that. But he was upset about it and they were pranking him. And I think that's one thing that we can't forget, that Devlin was being picked on by many people, and also that he would have maybe been, targeted online in certain ways like that.
And I said, well, that's ridiculous. Like you'd ever do that. He goes, right? I know. I wouldn't do that. I'm glad you know that. So I don't remember what it was, but it sounded very much like bullying to me. Like somebody maybe was.
Right. I heard there were a group of kids that were sending him around for odd jobs and like sending him on a wild goose
Now that you say that, it was another thing they did. Yes.
Okay.
Those same people had sent him because he was looking to rake yards and whatever.
Right.
And they had sent him to an address. And he said, yes, now that you say that, yes, he did say that they did that. Okay. And I just, was like, well, you need to not talk to those kind of people. They're not good for you, right? So you know that. So don't, he just was like so eager to
please
be a friend to everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, eager to please. So I can see where Joni's saying this, right? I get on board with that. I also think that it's sad that Devlin was dealing with this. And we know that Tamara was saying, he'd come home a lot of days like pissed off, right? Because this was going on. I don't blame him. I'd be pissed off too. Especially if people are sending me on odd jobs. Like that would really, the $80 prank, right? That one is kind of more transparent, but I think that they were playing Devlin and trying to, make him feel dumb, even though they're the dumb ones for being dumb bullies, right? Hashtag we hate bullies. But in the same way, I think, just my opinion, that the job thing was where they could really get him pissed, right? Not just an $80 prank. Okay, haha, like I'm really going to go spend $80 on a burger or whatever just because you told me to. But they were playing him. They were trying to see, what he would do and how gullible he was. And that's really shitty. And it ticks me off to think about it. Women's Warrior says, Lady Freedom, I'm unsure about her. I have a bad feeling, but I would I would have invited LE in to check if I had nothing to hide and I knew the kid, in my opinion. Hey, I'm right there with you, Women's Warrior. That is one thing that makes me side-eye Joni, is because she was acting very froggy with the police, right? I mean, hey, look, and then especially to call the next day like that. She's acting real froggy and suspicious with the police, in my opinion. So we have that element here, and it is weird. And she knows Devlin, right? We're gonna get into a little bit more of her personal knowledge, or how they continued on to have, a friendship after him being her, or her being his teacher, excuse me, the teacher's aide in junior high. But yeah, I'm right there with you. It's just she's acting very strange. She's also like belittling and calling names to law enforcement, which I always thought that took me back. I was like, really? Well, what? Like, she's like, you ding dongs, and I'm like, oh, okay. And she does bash law enforcement a little bit more in this, so that always made me, side eye a little bit too, because I'm like, well, why are you bashing law enforcement? They're just trying to help find Devlin, right? I would be offering those guys coffee, water, whatever, Gatorade, Gatorade. But I'd be offering them everything to find him and how can I help you? And Devlin used to come over here. Oh my God, I can't believe he's missing. And you would think she would have some urgency or something. But again, that's why I wanted you guys to listen to this, on the back of what law enforcement has recently put out. Because again, I know that everyone's going to have their feelings, their speculations, their theories, but we have to look at everything. And with what law enforcement has just told us, it's the family doesn't have involvement, right? They're not suspects. We've checked them out, is what they told us. And then on top of it, this is an odd call that we got in, right? This is what I'm looking at. When law enforcement's telling me this, they're not going to tell us just like flat out, right? They can't do that. So they're going to give us nuggets. And when they give us this nugget, we need to follow it because they're telling us something here. In my opinion, either that or they're pushing us down a rabbit hole. A rabbit hole. I don't, or a hill maybe, pushing us down the hill. Good riddance, But I think that they're telling us something here that we need to pay attention to. So, um, oh no, I think that's a great question. All that is unseen. Good to see you, hun. Forgive my ignorance, but do you need a photo ID to use the bridge card? So no, you just use the bridge card. I would think. Anywhere. It's a food stamp card or a food card, um, like EBT or. But no, not you shouldn't have to present it at the counter. No. But that's a good question. Marion says, could those that was bullying him done something to Devlin? I mean, that's what I'm saying, Marion. We don't know. And I think it's important to look at all of them. Now that the police officers identified that cadet was one of the bullies, right? And that cadet was fired. And I appreciate them doing that for Devlin because, you just can't be in a position of power and do things like that. You have to be better than that. You have to show a better example of yourself than that. And it's tough. We're all human, but in the same way, for him to be that age and picking on Devlin, who has deficits, right? I mean, but it still is not okay, even if they're about the same age and that stuff. Um, so, and I think I just answered your question, Brad. I think there were about 8 different jobs. They even sent him to Pennock Hospital or Pennock Hospital in Hastings. Wow. And he was on foot. See, that's what ticks me off the most, Tim, is because he's on foot, right? And they know this, right? And they're, oh, we're gonna send you here, send you there. I mean, could you imagine walking all that way just for nothing, So hey, Christmas Swan. No ID needed. Yeah, I didn't think so. I was trying to think. But yeah, some people know it as a snap. Thank you. Snap food card. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean that's the thing too. Like you would think if somebody did hurt Devlin, they'd be using his card to get food, right? They like say they were trying to rob him or something and they thought they were going to get more money off of him than they did, and but you'd think they would use the food card or something. Um Oh yeah, no, 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 it's not. It's I know what you mean, like the iPass or yeah, like for the tolls. No, it's nope. It's just for food. You can only use it for food, and that's the thing. I mean, sometimes people will, have somebody buy them, groceries, and they'll give them cash in return, which is not, it's illegal. You're not supposed to do it, but people do it all the time. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Now, can you explain to me how he came to find your house? Because I thought that was kind of funny.
Oh my gosh. Well, when I worked at the school, our classroom faced the parking lot. So they could look out and watch me pull in or, leave for lunch or whatever. So they knew what vehicle I drove, And when I purchased my mobile home, I would share things in the classroom. Oh yeah, I bought a new house or whatever. Oh, where are you living? And I'd be like Lake Odessa, because that sounded so far away from Hastings, And little did I know that he moved to Lake Odessa, and all of a sudden he was at my door one day, knocking on my door. I go, Devlin, what are you doing over here? I hadn't seen him in a couple of years. He goes, well, you told me you lived in Lake Odessa, and I knew you lived in a and he knew what car I drove, and he just walked around the park till he saw my car.
So smart kid.
And I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I always worked in special education, and just like any other sector of the world, people have their strengths and their weaknesses. He can put two and two together. He just emotionally, sometimes he, wasn't that smart. So.
And I have to agree with Joni here, and we talk about this a lot on the channel. That we just all have different abilities, right? We have different things that we're good at. There's different things that we're not great at, right? But the things that we take for granted, sometimes these people that have autism spectrum disorder or something, a chromosome deletion or anything, or extra chromosome, they're going to have challenges with those things, more so than we do. And that's the things that we take for granted. But I mean, again, there's also skills that they have that we don't. So I think that's an accurate portrayal of Devlin, especially because if we look at, which it's good to know who we're looking for. So if we look at the fact that Devlin does have a lot of challenges on his plate, but we also can see that he's surpassing a lot of the expectations that you think, oh, okay, well, he can't do that because he's autistic. No, that's not true. Actually, he's able to, track this teacher down. He's like, I remember what you drive. I remember you moved over to Lake Odessa. There's only one mobile home park there. So that's where you live, right? And he put two and two together. Also, I'm sure there's times where you see each other in town there because it's very small. So yeah, 20 miles one way. I mean, so a 40-mile walk is a long way, so why would he be walking around the park after 2 years looking for her car? I don't know, Women's Warrior. Devlin was just that way. He would stop by people's houses and say hello. He was kind of, just that was kind of how he rolled. He would just go over there and stop by. I do think it's odd that Joni acts very standoffish. I mean, I understand why, and it's probably ethics issues, right, for her, but she also makes it very clear that Devlin's never been in her house, but then he's always stopping by. So again, it's just something, like I said, a nugget that I'd like to follow.
Okay. Now, how often did you speak with Devlin? On a daily basis?
Oh, no. He'd probably stop up at my house, I don't know, a couple times a week, usually for like 5 minutes or less.
And you said he's never been in? Yeah.
No, he's never been in my house. I never gave him a ride. Nothing like that, just because of
I know
this kind of situation.
I totally understand that.
Yep. So, yeah.
Can you tell me Can you tell me some really good qualities about Devlin?
Devlin was, like I said, he had a huge heart. He had a lot of empathy. So if somebody was going through something, he would feel it, and he would try to help. And that's just the kind of person he was. And he felt things very strongly. He loved music. He was very sentimental. And he did not like things that weren't right, especially if it hurt somebody else. So he was all about fairness.
Okay.
And those were his best. He just was a very feeling person and very empathetic towards others.
Okay. Do you know, did he have any good friends that he associated with and like special places that he would like to go to be alone? Did he share any of that with you at all?
He just said he would go to the laundromat, a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, he frequented a lot of places in Lyco, apparently. And it sounded, he came to my house one night and he's like, well, did you know the ambulance is at blah, blah, blah? And I talked to blah, blah, blah. And I go, who's blah, blah, whatever the guy's name was. Well, he's on the ambulance crew. I go, how do you know that? Because I talked to him. He just never met a stranger. He had no problem, going up to someone and striking up a conversation or trying to fit in or, whatever. So I'm thinking, dude, I would never talk to anybody like that. But he had no problem with that. So,
well, I know that
he got around a lot.
His bio mom did relay to me that, because I did tell her that he had, he felt safe with you and felt like he had somebody to talk to with you. And she did want me to relay her thankful. She's very thankful that you've been there for her son.
Oh, well, he really was a special kid. I don't know if you've ever had the opportunity to work with kids, but, there's just, I worked with kids for like 27 years. And there's just some kids that you remember more than others. So, he just, was one of those. He just was always, it just doesn't, he's very loving, He really was. He just cared about other people.
And did that make him very vulnerable and easily influenced by people then?
I don't know if that contributed. He could be naive in that way, definitely. Because he could be very trusting. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so with her saying that he could be very trusting, right? I think that is part of why we might think that if Devlin was out there, right, he might have fallen for someone saying, hey, I have a job for you. I'll give you a ride, and gotten into a car. Something like that I can see. I do think Devlin was street smart. Otherwise, he wouldn't have made it as long as he did, right? Because he was always out. And when you encounter a lot of people and you're around a lot of people, you start to realize things. And Tamara, if you want to say anything in the chat, go for it. I mean, I understand there's certain things that you probably don't want to, disclose. But in the same way, I mean, if you'd like to point anything out, please do. But I think Devlin was very street smart, but I also think that he could have very well gotten in a vehicle if he thought maybe they had good intentions or they had something for him, because he did have to make money right before his court date. I mean, I can see that being a vulnerability as well. Not just his mental ability. I'm talking about, like, when you need money, you're going to try to do what you can to make it. So, if they offered him a job, then, so, well, Marion, and we do have to work on things that we're not too shabby at, right? I mean, if we work on it, we can get better at it, unless it's like algebra for me. I'm never going to get that, but that's what I kind of equate it to, because sometimes people will be like, well, people on the spectrum can't do this or that, but many times they can, and sometimes they're really, really good at certain things. So
that people would have his best interest at heart when maybe they necessarily didn't.
Did he ever explain to you about the court cases that he was going through? And
No, he never said a word.
Yeah, because he didn't want you to.
Exactly, because I would be like, "What are you doing?" Yeah. Like I said, I would call him out because I figured I wouldn't be a good friend if I didn't.
Hey, that is the truth. That is very much the truth. If we care about them, we call them out on their BS.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly. And he knew that. So he, smart enough to know, hey, I don't tell her about this. I had no idea. No idea at all.
Okay.
So how are you involved in this?
Well, okay, let me tell you a little story. Have you heard Rebecca Park?
No,
Okay.
I don't know what that is.
Okay, that's a girl that went missing up north in my community, and we got a search team together, and we went to look for her, and we ended up finding her, and it was a monster story that I don't want to rehash.
Oh, I don't want to know that.
Yep, you don't. You absolutely do not look it up. Do protect your mental health.
Okay.
And I did see this story a while ago when he first went missing, because I'm only about 40 minutes from Waco, and my son Russell's there once.
And also, guys, Piper went and put up flyers, right? She put up flyers. She went to one of the sightings, right, that people had seen, said that they saw a Devlin, and she brought a flyer out there. So, you know, she's done a lot in Devlin's case and these interviews as well, which is really, really nice. And I appreciate it, you know, so much for her doing all that, because you know, every little bit that we can do helps, you know. And Holly says, I wish he'd just show back up, and I think he's kind-hearted though, and he would not do his mom that way. I know, I think so too, Holly. I think he would have, like, at least talked to somebody, at least somebody. That's what's so crazy about it, you know. So, and Holly, thank you for your super sticker too. Thank you. Breaks my heart. He just wanted a job. What a good kid. I know, when I was that age, that's the last thing I was wanting to do, right, Holly? I hear you. I mean, I always worked, you know, jobs and things like that, or, like, you know, worked at the mall, and I also, that's when I worked with people with special needs too, was through high school. You know, and I really enjoyed working, but I think too, like with him, it's like he just couldn't catch a break, because we were talking about McDonald's. I remember when Tamara's up talking about McDonald's, and that's why I think that if he really was offered a job for 15 an hour where he didn't have to go like very far, he would have taken it in a heartbeat. And especially because he seemed to have liked Lori, or wanted to, you know, go over and visit with her frequently. So I think that was just kind of something she said just to make herself seem nicer. And I know that sounds kind of mean of me, but that's just my opinion. Because everybody I've talked to, and even like in one of the interviews, I think it was the one after this one, but Jessica had said, no, you know, she didn't know anything about that to Piper. So yeah. And then I asked Tamara too. I don't know anything about that. In my opinion, I definitely can see him getting into someone's car. I mean, I think so. If he thought maybe he could get a ride, I can't put it past him. See, that's why. Um, you know? So, Tamara says, no, I don't think he'd been seeing her. He didn't come to live with me until about September of 2024. Oh, okay. I'd like to call her out on some of her BS. Yeah, I mean, no, that's fine. I mean, honestly, like I said, I don't find everyone and what they're gonna say to be 100%, or, you know, so I'm not shocked like one way or another. Like if somebody's being dishonest, but then I'm wondering what, you know, depending on what it is, why? You know, why would they be dishonest about it, you know? Because sometimes people are dishonest because they're embarrassed, or because they don't want to tell the truth, or, you know, some people just lie a lot. Like there can be a lot of reasons, you know, why somebody wouldn't tell the truth. But I just thought it was interesting, you know, especially about the job thing, because that would have been like, he would have told everyone. I bet he probably would have been calling people, texting people, I got a job, woo, you know, all of that, especially on Easter. I don't know.
While I come there quite often, and I deliver things over there. So I thought he was found, in all honesty, and then I seen it popping up again, and nothing, you know, I hadn't heard nothing on it for the last 8 months. And then my girlfriend on Facebook, she is Heather Marie, and she was posting photos of him again, and he reminds me of my nephew. I have a nephew about his same age with the same issues, that he doesn't have the cerebral palsy, but he has ADHD, he's autistic, he's high functioning, but he would never just walk off. Do you think that that Devlin just walked off?
You know, I struggle with that because I can see him. Because he's dramatic or passionate, whichever way you want to say it. If he feels something, he's really feeling it. And he either hated or loved his bio mom. He was always talking on the phone when he's coming up to my house.
Okay.
Either, his grandma or his bio mom or whatever. And he either hated his bio mom or he loved her. And I can see him, because he told me at one point he was going to go down there.
Okay.
And I asked him, because I saw him, a week later he came up and I go, I thought you were going to your bio mom's. He goes, well, and he did say he had a court case, but he didn't tell me what and for what and where it was at or any of that kind of stuff. And I looked at him like, are you kidding me? He goes, well, I don't even remember what he said. He just, one minute he wanted to go down there, the next minute he didn't want to go down there. One minute he loved her, the next minute I never want to see her. So that all neutralized each other. I thought, what are the chances he's ever going to see her? When I found out he was gone,
Right. So, okay. So I would think of it like this kind of too if I was Joni. But here's the deal. So these are text messages that Tamara sent me over, right? Because again, there were some things that Tamara was telling me. This was a big turning point as well. But there were some things that Tamara was telling me that was starting to come through when I was talking with Jessica, right? And I'm thinking to myself, okay. So there's some things that are not lining up with what Jessica's telling me. Tamara's showing me this. So at the time was about the time that this interview came out. And it was interesting because Jessica was absolutely playing both sides of the coin on Devlin, right? She was playing the side of, talking to Tamara and telling him all this stuff about the phone and how she's going to take the phone and this and that and the other. And then also we have Devlin who is being told that his mom has cancer, but he just, lost his dad to cancer, right? Because Bill Tait had passed away from cancer and he had a very hard time with that, and so did the rest of the family. And Jessica knew that, right? I mean, it should go without saying. But she's telling him, like, I have leukemia and blah, 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 but she really doesn't, in my opinion. I mean, look, if I had said disease and someone asked me if I had it, I would just come and tell them, yes, I do. I wouldn't get mad. But when I asked her, she got really pissed at me. And I'm like, okay, there we go. Right? So, look, it sucks because Devlin had to deal with that. But this is what he was going through before. So, of course, we have to remember this when we're talking about him being missing. And that's the only reason that we're going to talk about it. But again, this playing back and forth, because then I see what Jessica was talking to Devlin about, and she was, encouraging some behaviors that seemed a little bit odd. Some encouraging behaviors and not others. When you're a mom and your child tells you, I was just assaulted at the park, and he's telling you and no one else, right? And the only reason I say that is because she asked, are you, does Sandra know? And he said no, right? Going back to that, she should have said, you need to go to the hospital and tell them, because then they would bring the police in. He could have said that this happened to me at the park, and then At least we would have been able to get that off of the list of people that could have hurt Devlin. But we don't even know who this lady is, so maybe she did hurt him, right? Maybe she did lure him out, you know? And Tamara says, especially making $15 an hour, and he would have never said anything to Sabrina or I yet. He did about the other jobs, and then that the bullies were sending him on. Yeah, exactly, Tam. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, he would have been over the moon, right? He would have been excited. He would have been telling everybody. He never told anybody, as far as I know. Obviously not you or Sabrina. Obviously, I don't think Matt knew about that. He never brought it up to whenever he was in here. I've never heard Sandra say anything, even though I've never talked to Sandra, but I'm just saying I've never heard her, saw it on a post or anything like that. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it just makes me wonder. But again, a lot of people were trying to take advantage of the situation as well. We figured that out too, right? Like Panda Bear's mom and, Mary Quite Contrary. So, I mean, there's that.
To like the bus ticket thing, and it would be kind of like super like $1,000 and like a.
So bus tickets are kind of expensive, especially if it's a last minute deal. But that's any travel. All right, so this is what Jessica's saying about this ticket. Yeah, well, I'm thinking that after his bullshit last night that I'm done paying a dime on anything until he's willing to check himself in somewhere and get the help he needs. I'm definitely not purchasing any type of tickets to Arizona until he does so. So if he wants to come out here, he either gets help or finds a way to purchase his own ticket. He doesn't know any of this yet, though. Talking about the cancer and talking about how he doesn't know it, but I'm about to cut his ass off from everything. Hey, Kiki, good to see you, girl. Good to see you. I know. I'm sorry I didn't get your call earlier, girl. I was just like I was freaking so busy, and then I just got behind because I was supposed to do a daytime live and a nighttime live, and I didn't. I was just like, the sun got me. So oh, I'm sorry, Tim. I'm sorry. I know. I know. It's very tough, and I appreciate you sharing stuff like this though, because I mean it speaks to Devlin's mindset too. It's hard on everybody. And that part was very difficult on all of you guys. And I mean, I have text messages why I say that because of Devlin's own words that prove that. I'm gonna go talk to Dad today. I'm gonna go sit with him. I'm gonna go, and he's going to church. And I hate saying bless your heart, but I really mean bless his heart. I'm not just saying, oh, bless your heart. How you guys know, some of you guys know about that. Sometimes blessing someone's heart doesn't really mean bless your heart. But I mean, but really though, bless his heart for going there and talking to his dad and, doing that. Look, this is where when kids are going through horrible times and they turn to something bad. And Devlin was turning to something good by going to church. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times we have to, do that. It's important. So, yeah, and he didn't tell anybody else. I asked around, Tam. I asked around. He did not tell anyone else about it either. Nope, he sure didn't. So, I mean, just recently, a lady from Cottonwood, California, special needs teacher arrested for abusing children. I know, Christmas one, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. I mean, I'm surprised YouTube doesn't take my channel down because of all the crap I was exposing. They were like, oh, this is a restriction. And then I did the JLR with his exes talking, and oh, buddy, were they buck wild. You know what I mean? Just talking about, all kinds of different stuff. I also have an update to give you guys. Well, it's not even a very good update. It's just about that teacher that showed the pictures to the girl. Yeah, they're not doing anything. It's been a month. No, the investigation, where's the investigation? They need to get that guy out of there. But anyway, so there's nothing really except for the news is asking again what's going on with it, which I'm glad they are. But I'll have to bring you guys that update again tomorrow. So I'll tell you what. But yeah, so this is what's terrible, right? It's just this whole deal right here and what the parapro's talking about, how he was back and forth about going to Arizona because obviously Jessica's, saying, I mean, she just basically saying she didn't want to pay for the ticket here, right? Because it's not about him getting help. It's about finding a way to purchase the ticket and getting him off the cell phone because she said she's paying for the cell phone.
50-hour bus trip or something, and I don't feel like he would be able to come up with that kind of money. Do you think?
No, I don't either. Okay. No. But he would, and I don't know this feature, but if I was to guess, I would guess like if he got SNAP money or anything.
Yeah,
which he probably did.
He did. He did receive EBT money. Yes. Yep.
Okay. Well, I could imagine him like, say, he got $50 a month. I could imagine him spending $44.50 the first day, on chips and pop and hey, some gum and I can see him doing that. So I don't see him saving for that kind of thing.
Okay.
But I don't know that.
Right.
But if I were to guess that about his personality, because sometimes he'd come into my house and he'd have a pop and a candy bar or a bag of chips, and I'd say, man, you must be living in the lap of luxury because I can't afford all that stuff. Oh, you can too. He'd just blow it off. But I think, where do you get all that money?
Right.
And then other times he'd be like, oh, I'm just really hungry because I haven't eaten today. I'd be like, really? I'm thinking, what about the 15 snacks you had 2 weeks ago? Let's spread those out a little bit, dude. But
yeah. So after that first night, has law enforcement reached back out to you or come back?
Oh yeah, I had like 6. They stopped 6 different times.
Okay.
6, yeah, different variety of departments. Sergeants, officers, detectives, whatever.
Okay.
And I will have to say, I don't know if you have anything to do with the police department, but they were pretty much rude because none of them, basically identified themselves or their department, but they would say at the end, oh, let me know if you know anything. And I think, dude.
Okay, guys, I'm just going to point this out. I'm going to just rewind it back a little bit. This is where she starts bashing the police officers, right? Now, I've called and spoke with the police officers. This has not been my experience. I'm interested to know Jody's experience. But again, she's sitting here bashing the police officers. They haven't done anything besides try to look for Devlin, though. I mean, and she's acting super strange again.
If you have anything to do with the police department, but they were all pretty much rude because none of them, basically identified themselves or their department, but they would say at the end, oh, let me know if you know anything. And I think, dude, I don't even know who you are. You didn't give me a card. You didn't, nothing. So I think they're kind of all dinglings, but whatever.
Okay, again with the dinglings. She called them ding dong dinglings, right? So what the heck is that all about? That's very strange to me. Very strange. Tamara, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. Hey, look. If there's where there's a will, there's a way. Right? I mean, look, you're trying to put all of this together. So, but where there's a will, there's a way. If you're going to get to your child, you're going to get to them. And she needs to do some finagling, I suppose. Maybe she should use the $200 that my subscribers gave her on the GoFundMe and use it towards Devlin for a fucking change. Sorry. Night court. So, but that does not surprise me one bit.
Okay. I'm trying to think of
one card out of all those.
Is there anything else that you would like to tell me about Devlin that you think might be helpful, or you could think of, or anybody to think of that he would know?
The only person I thought of when I heard he was missing was him going to see his biomom, like getting, he would get sick of his bio mom and be glad he's in Laco, or he'd get sick of Laco and want to go to his bio mom, which is typical of a kid his age. But I thought, well, maybe he went to see her. And I can see him hitchhiking. He makes, like I said, he's never met a stranger. He'll walk right up to anybody and start a conversation and fit right in,
Okay.
So.
Well, and I will say if he tried to hitch a ride with the wrong person, that would be a theory that, I mean, is outside of what we've been thinking about or looking at. We need to look at everything. Because I think a vehicle could have been involved, right? Um, and also, I wondered about Jessica and her putting adult items, as we said, again, things that Devlin would have liked or would have used on the list for Christmas for AJ. It was supposed to be about AJ, right? um and the thing is too, um Jessica doesn't seem to worry about things for the future, right? She's not looking forward, and you need to do that as a parent. You can't just, and yeah, I mean, I know it's not much, right? But you can absolutely use some of that to get to Devlin if she, because what else did she use it for? She should still have that money there, right, Kiki? I mean, I think so. I think that money should still be there. I doubt it is. I'm just saying it should be for Devlin, you know? Hey, IML, good to see you. Oh, good. I was hoping that I know we had something with the chat, so I'm glad to see you in the chat again. Good, because I checked it twice, and I'm like, you should be good to chat. All right, wonderful. But yeah, so I mean, unless see, that's the thing too. As this stuff was going on with Devlin, right? As this was going on, Jessica was sending people their pictures and saying, "This is a old boyfriend of mine." There was also Ray that was there at the time through some of it, and then they broke up. But well, I mean, I don't. This is the thing, Tamara, and here's the thing. If she says I told Heather I didn't invite her anyway, well, I mean, here's the thing. She's not working with, she refused to work with you. I mean, you guys could have hashed it out behind the scenes and, come up here and said, compared stories and told about what you guys know about Devlin. But, she's very hard-headed, in my opinion, and I had to tell her that. That's why, I mean, the thing is with Jessica, she likes to burn bridges, and then she's like, "Oh, well," then she gets mad and hurt whenever people don't include her. Well, you burned a bridge down though. And I have the text message that she last sent you about the truck, you know, and or you sent her you were asking her about the truck that Devlin was out, I guess, at Penny's, and the guys were looking at him or something like that sideways, and then he was bowing up to them or whatever, and they drove off or something like this. But again, you were just asking her a question and she went off. So I mean, look, I know. And again, if she wants to do something for Devlin, then she can do it, right? Invite her friends, spread some awareness in Arizona. As true crime creators, we have to do that anyway too ourselves. I mean, I'm in Florida and I'm covering Sebastian's case. I have a bunch of flyers from his dad, so I gotta pass out flyers. And I need to be passing them around. Well, I'm taking a trip, so I'm gonna be able to pass them out while I go. But again, she can do all that. She can definitely do all that. And not impose on your guys' situation, it'll be nothing but BS with her attitude. Jessica has a horrible attitude, in my opinion.
I can see him be one of the officers asked me that. Do you think he's smart enough to have found a way down to, I can't even remember where his bio mom lived, somewhere south.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And I said, yeah, I do think he's smart enough. And he said, so do I.
And you said he was usually, though, at your place 2 to 3 times a week for about 5 minutes a time or whatever, right?
Yeah, just long enough to just kind of check in. And and I think he checked in with a lot of people.
And that just abruptly stopped, right?
Well, yeah, I saw him the day before. I think the day before was Easter.
Easter, so you
I
seen
think
him
it was
Easter
that
Sunday?
night. Yeah, I think it was that night that the police came to my door. And
they came to your door Easter Sunday night?
I'm thinking it was, or maybe it was Monday night. I don't know which, because frankly, I don't remember.
Oh, bullshit. See, this is where I call bullshit. I call bullshit right here. She says, oh, I don't remember which day. Devlin went missing that Monday, so they were knocking on your door that night because Sabrina was like, hey, he hangs out at the Parapros over there in the trailer park. So they located her place off of Keisha and was knocking on her door. Hello? Right? Hey, Seth. Good morning. Good morning, Seth. I sent you an email yesterday just saying I'm praying for you and stuff. So, yeah, thank you, IML. Yeah, so, yeah, she blocked you. I know. She told me all about it. She's like, this is what happened. And I'm like, well, I mean, she was just asking you a question. Damn. And I get she's on edge, right? Everybody's on edge. That's why, anything that's said or whatever could be because you're on edge. It's like there's just things that, I mean, it's not an easy situation. And hello, Detroit. Hello. I hope you had a great Easter. So, I mean, look, I don't judge that kind of stuff, we talk about it or whatever, but yeah, this whole bit with Joni gets very hairy because I don't like it when people have like a memory loss right away. Like, oh God, I don't remember. No, you remember because he came to your house, right, looking for Devlin. The officer did, the ding dong, the dingaling, right? Poor officer. I'm just kidding. But whoever it was, she's calling him a dingaling, and he's showing up there looking for Devlin, and you should be happy that they're out there looking for him, right? So it's just weird. But then she goes, now she's gonna hem-haw back and forth, right? Do the hokey pokey about this, and this is so important right here.
I believe
but
he
it
wasn't reported missing until so he went missing on the 21st, which would have been the day after Easter.
So Monday?
Monday, yeah.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
So it was
Right. So, but then she gets the selective memory loss right when it's about time to talk about this, this moment, right? When you find out that Devlin's missing and they're coming to your house and they're saying his phone pinged in the area.
Yeah, because in my mind I was thinking, well, how would they even know? I mean, because you have to be missing so many hours, don't you, for it to be a missing person?
What? Like I said, guys, here comes the hokey pokey. Right? Because it's like, you have to be missing this many hours. Wait, no. They notified you directly and said his phone wasn't pinging in your area. Sorry, let's go back just to 21. Sorry. I don't want to go back too far. There we go.
Well, how would they even know? I mean, because you have to be missing so many hours, don't you, for it to be a missing person?
I think so, but I think maybe with his special needs, they were, just putting a little bit of priority on it, knowing that he roams the neighborhood there. They might have just been like, okay, well, let's look here, and here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, except for I know he's been out overnight before because he's come to my house in the morning before and said I didn't go home. And I'm like, dude, you got to go home.
And
you got to have a place to.
Is that when? So I know he was found sleeping in a barn a lot. I believe that was Lori Hansen's barn. Do you know Lori Hansen? She said that she knew you and that you were a nice lady.
On Bonanza Road?
Yes.
Oh, see, and I was unaware of that. Yeah. I do know who she is.
Okay.
Yes, but I did not know that Devlin was ever there.
Yeah, Devlin, she would wake up a lot of times and find Devlin sleeping in her barn. So she checked her barn.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so.
Well, I know I gave him
I'm
a
going
blanket
to
one day
speak with
because
her in the morning, actually.
Okay, so right here she says, "Yeah, I know her. I didn't know that Devlin was sleeping in her barn, but I know Lori." Right? But then listen what she says here coming up, because she's going to talk about, she's going to kind of distance herself from Lori again. It's weird.
I'm going to go and meet with her at 8 o'clock in the morning. She's got a lot of good information, she said, for me. So I'm going to go meet with her and go live with her in the morning. We're going to go live together, and she's going to try and explain to us what she knows, because she seems to be very close, her and her daughter, Terry Tasha Miller.
I don't know who that is either. Okay, I feel I don't want to be associated with any like fringe groups. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? I am all for helping find Devlin, but I don't want to be part of the drama.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way.
I don't blame
And
you.
I don't want to piss
yep.
anybody off, and I don't want to alienate, anybody that could help, or do you know what I'm saying?
Correct.
I don't want to be that person. Yeah.
No, and that's why I appreciated you haven't said any names. I only said Lori's name because she mentioned that she knows you and that you were.
And I do know Lori. Yep. I mean, I don't know her well, but I know her. It's hard not to know people like her.
Yeah, that's what I said too. I was like, everybody's got to know everybody there. Like, it's literally all within walking distance everywhere I've gone.
Yeah. That's I'm sorry that he had to spend nights in a barn. I did give him a blanket one morning because he came to my house, and he wasn't dressed appropriately for whatever the weather was. It was like, it seems like it was spring or something, so it was very cold out in the morning, and he was shivering, and he was at my house in the morning, and he usually didn't come in the morning. He usually came in the afternoon, just strolling up, and I was like, Devlin, what are you doing in the house so early?
Okay, also right there, she says that he comes strolling up in the afternoon, usually in the afternoon. Right? So, and Diana, good to see you. Yeah, you don't have to wait 24 hours. That was changed a long time ago. She has sudden amnesia. No way. She knows, in my opinion. Hello, everyone. Yeah. I mean, yes, this is the Parapro Detroit. Yes. And, this is why, her interview is just something to examine further, I think, just because also the police are pointing us this way, right? Just again, if we're going to do a true, anniversary show, which we don't have it until the 21st, but this is, a day after Easter. I was like, we have to do Devlin's show because, you know, if we're really going to be honest and look at the case, then we need to follow the crumbs that law enforcement is putting out for us. If they're willing to give us some crumbs, I think we should examine it. And then, like I said, she's over here with the ding dongs, and yes, Detroit. And I have this up if you just want to watch it, like, to examine it without my commentary in it. Because it was a good interview. I think there was a lot of nuggets that she put out for us, right? So they gave us this breadcrumb. Now we got to follow her breadcrumbs, so to speak. Because again, you know, Kiki says this woman's hiding something. I think there's more to it, right? Because she's kind of like, yeah, I know Lori. Well, I kind of know of her. Yeah, we're kind of, but I can understand it. It also does make sense that everybody knows each other because it's a small area. So, yeah. Tamara says, see, her and Lori both said that. Which one? I'm sorry, I'm a little bit behind on that. But yeah, she is the parapro. So yeah, so she said this morning he showed up in the morning, but then she said it's usually in the afternoons, and it kind of takes me back a little bit with the afternoon, because that would have been the time that he would have gone over to her, by her would have been the afternoon. If she says he usually stops by in the afternoon. He didn't go to Penny's though. So what did he eat for lunch? That's another big question. And he wasn't caught on camera anywhere else. He didn't stop at the Sunoco and grab anything. He didn't, because they had him on camera the day before on Easter. So, And I believe he was at the Dollar General, was it, on the day before that? I have to get that timeline pinned down because I know people were saying that, when Piper was going from business to business, like she hit up the Dollar General, interviewed them, she went over by the pizza place, dropped off a flyer there. So, I'll need to get that nailed down before we do our big show. So, Women's Warrior says you need a language analyst on this. She panicked. I'm going to listen again. She is very involved here, in my opinion. I mean, the thing is, too, is that's where his phone pinged. I mean, and so she is acting nervous. And, the most honest explanation I can find is that she was trying to help Devlin out. But where is he, though? Where did he go? And who's hiding him out? Or what's going on? Because, again, he knows everybody's numbers by heart. So even if he got a new phone or something like that, I mean, he could still dial out and call. Um, you know, I mean, we know about the landline, so it's not like there's a cell phones for other people and nobody's changed their phone number. So they never found his phone. Yeah, they never found his phone. So yeah, she backtracks a lot. Wait until she starts talking about when Piper says she's coming by in the trailer park.
And why don't you have enough clothes on? He had like a t-shirt when he needed like a coat or something like that. And he said, well, I didn't go home last night. And I go, what do you mean you didn't go home? Well, he missed curfew and got locked out, or I don't remember what it was, but I said, dude, you have to be warmer than that. And my heart broke because I should have taken him into my warm house. But like I said, I'm not doing that because, I don't know his family. I don't know the circumstances. I don't want to get in trouble, because that can be misconstrued. And so I gave him a blanket. And I said, here, take this blanket, get warmed up, go home, get inside the house, get some heat, take the blanket. And then he came back like 2 days later and he said, oh, I'm sorry, I left your blanket at the park and somebody stole it. Like, what the heck? So he didn't go home, obviously.
He spent a lot of nights away from home.
And, that very well could be, once again, he didn't share. I think I don't want to say a happy place, but a place where we didn't do drama. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We didn't get into heavy stuff. We just enjoyed each other. Tried to make each other laugh, or, he'd tell me about a song, or, whatever.
Okay, so I think Christmas Swan, the reason why he didn't want, or why she didn't want him to come in, was because she didn't want their relationship to be misconstrued. And I understand that, especially with teachers and ethics, with even young kids. I mean, Devlin's an adult. So, I mean, at this point, at the point that she's talking about, he's an adult, he's emancipated at this point, right? So it's not like she would get in any trouble with him being a kid. So I know, I understand why you're saying, why couldn't she bring him into the house? No, I get that. So, oh, about Devlin staying out all night. Okay, thank you. Sorry. Um, that was probably from earlier. Why couldn't she bring him into her house? Sorry, I got that. Christmas. I wonder if she did and didn't tell anyone. Well, here's the thing, Kiki. She kind of acts like she did. Like, because she's like, oh, I didn't let him in my house. Like, but it was like nobody asked her. It wasn't like anybody's pressing her or anything like that, So, um, yeah, I don't know that for a fact. I mean, and it's weird because how do you enjoy each other in 5 minutes? And that's weird too, for her to say the words enjoy each other. And I'm not trying to throw her under the bus or say that there is anything inappropriate. I'm just saying, not even inappropriate. Again, he's an adult. I mean, Detroit says, I think she might be hiding something, or she's hiding something, in my opinion. I mean, that's my best guess because of the way she's talking and the way that the police kind of put it out, where she called the next day and it was weird how she called. I mean, if anything, I don't know. It's weird that she called like that, cuz if it was me, I would be worried and stuff. Maybe I might hit up the Facebook page or something like that. But I wouldn't call the police. So, yeah, it is yeah, very weird vibes. Yeah, I know. I know, Holly. And then all of these teachers coming out and weird stuff with them. I know. I know. And again, it wouldn't be illegal, right, for her to have a relationship with Devlin. So I shouldn't even call it inappropriate. But if you had a relationship with him, then why wouldn't you just say, right? Um, so well, and he wasn't far from home and he was used to walking and stuff like that. So, for her to say he came in the morning and said he didn't go home the night before. Um, and she doesn't specify exactly when this happened, right? When she's tried to whenever Piper tries to kind of nail her down to certain details, she doesn't allow for it. She'll backtrack. Holly says, "Yeah, I get weird vibes." Yeah. I mean, I would have just reached out on the Facebook stuff, Kiki, because everybody was on there, and then Sabrina was also handing out yard signs and stuff. Like she was, asking people if they wanted yard signs, and she was delivering them over to them. So yeah, and then there was also a couple of searches and backwards search and rescue search for Devlin as well. I mean, everybody was actively searching, and she didn't even get out there and help, and that's weird. And then she calls in is also weird. You know, in my opinion, they were having a relationship, and she panicked because he went missing, and she doesn't want it to be a question. When did it start? And she could damage her reputation. Yeah, well, and that's true, women's warrior. I mean, I don't know how long he was even going by her house. She doesn't really specify on that either. Um, I'm guessing it's when he moved in with Tamra, is then he maybe, one day he realized, oh yeah, my teacher might live over here. And if you just walk through that trailer park, it's not huge or anything. I mean, it's not terribly small either, but I mean, you could walk through there and find somebody's vehicle and say, "Oh, that's, she drives this vehicle or whatever," and there she is. Um, so, they've gone back a couple times, Kiki. They've gone back a couple times, and she's been very standoffish, in my opinion, with the way that and like I said, she calls them dingalings and ding dongs. And why would she call them that? Like, it's not like they've done anything. They're just looking for Devlin. So that's weird to me. It always did stand out. We enjoyed it. I know. IML, this is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, not 911. That's an emergency number. Exactly. Yeah. So, hey, Marion. Marion says, in my opinion, she might have done something to him, is also a possibility. Well, I was thinking maybe she helped him get out of Dodge, type of a thing, right? Like, but then where would she have helped him get to? His mom's? I mean, is that where she helped him get to? Is that the involvement? I don't always like to speculate foul play or, anything like that. Or did she hook him up with the church? Did she think, okay, well, he's, not in a great relationship with either one, right? Of his family. He's going back and forth. He's saying, this about his mom. He's saying this, whatever. Whatever's being talked about, because she's not probably telling us the whole thing there. And maybe she like helped him get, you know, someplace else, but why wouldn't she just come clean about it. Like because Devlin again is an adult, so even if you know, even if she helped him out, she wouldn't be in trouble for helping him out. She would just have to tell us that she's that she helped him out. Well, she wouldn't even have to tell us. She could have told law enforcement that in the beginning and be like, look, pull them aside and say, hey, I helped him because I thought that he needed a hand, so he's not really missing, he's just off somewhere. And you know I don't know, maybe because he had court the next day, she didn't want anybody to know she helped him. That could be it too. Detroit says she could have taken him home and talked to his family about why he's constantly showing up. I agree, Detroit, and being out all night in the freezing cold if she was concerned. I mean, I agree with that too. Because again, it wouldn't be hard, right, to find and just knock on Tamara's door and say, Devlin was out all night and I was worried about him, type of thing. I get what you're saying. Yeah. Well, the same thing goes for Lori too, though, because Lori talked a lot of shit in her interview, and said she was good friends with Tamara, but also talked a lot of shit, whatever. And then there's, I mean, why wouldn't you come to Tamara and say, hey, do you know Devlin's sleeping in the barn or something like that? Or I asked him not to, or something like that. But yeah, that there's no communication, that's for sure. And I agree, there should be if you're concerned. Yeah, Kiki says exactly, Detroit. I don't know. I know she's not like, I think she's like probably 45, 46, if I could guess, but I don't know. I don't know. She panics when she hears about the barn. Then she said one morning I gave him a blanket like he had been with her all night and tried to make it look like she saw him cold one morning. Something not right there. Oh, I see what you're saying, Women's Warrior. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Exactly. Well, and then why would Devlin have the blanket at the park and then 2 days later he comes back without it? That's weird too. Um why did he have the blanket at the park? Why wouldn't he just, if he went home after that, like where did he go after that? Because obviously, I don't know, Tamara, was there a time where he wasn't home for a couple of days? But I mean, uh, yeah, because then that would have been, it seemed like too, she was insinuating that he stayed at the park with her blanket overnight a second night or something like that, and come back without it. But, well, I know. Christmas fun, and there's a lot of woods. There's a lot of woods and a lot of water, you know? So she may have been worried about his other girlfriends finding out too. Yeah, yeah, that's a good point too, Holly. That is a very good point. Aw, thank you, Kiki. Christmas, I worry about that too, Kiki says. Yeah. Does she still work at the school? No, I think she's retired. So she's got to be older than that then. She's got to be older than I'm thinking. Yeah, Tamara, I forgot that you said that. It was suggested to me about an underground safe haven. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. Did he show up at home with the blanket? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because I mean that's what I'm saying. Like what, why would he have it at the park? And it's kind of hard to walk around with a blanket, I would think. As a teacher, it's strange to me she didn't seem more concerned about him just kind of wandering around. Do you think she would have expressed herself to LE, another teacher, someone? Well, yeah, I mean, especially if, because she does make it seem like he was kind of a nuisance at one point at the end here. She'll be like talking about that. So it makes me wonder, and then that's definitely something that she might know about being a teacher. um the militia, and that's another thing with the Michigan militia. That's what I was thinking, because I know they were talking about getting him a ticket. So that's definitely another avenue, Holly.
Now, yeah, I do notice that he made a post on, and it's kind of concerning to me. That's why I asked you if he seemed depressed at all, because he had made a post on April 1st about, I'm sorry, everybody. I'm truly sorry. I can't handle it anymore. I can't handle the way Tammy treats me anymore. And then it was,
Ew.
That's,
Like he completely muted everything you said.
oh, yeah.
So what was her reaction to that?
Her reaction to that was just that was really sad, and that Devlin would listen to music and get kind of melancholy. That word. When he would listen to music and kind of with his grandpa / dad passing away, that music could get him into a, like a melancholy state. Like, she didn't really elaborate too much on it. She said that sounded really sad and not like a good post, though. So,
Right.
Yeah. So, I'm glad he had.
Okay, so thank you, Tamara. So Tamara says, she never mentioned it to me about him sleeping in the barn, and no, there was that was before the court order curfew. Okay, so yeah, and with that being ordered, he was home because he knew he had to be home. I think the judge told him something about nothing good happens after 10, which, I mean, he shouldn't be out and about doing stuff, and I mean, that's when he was getting in trouble too, on some of those nights as well. And I know that one of the nights he didn't come home was because he was arrested on that warrant, because I did look that up in the courts. And like Devlin was going through a lot of crap at that point. He was really going through it. It wasn't the easiest time for him, and I think that's why law enforcement was thinking that he ran away. But oh, okay. Oh, did I missed one from Holly? Tamara, did you guys think he would be able to stay gone without contacting his mom or other family members? Okay, and Tamara says no, Holly. He called our mama every day, multiple times a day, and every night at bedtime. Yeah, and the thing is we still don't know how many times he called to speak with Sandra that day, right? Because that's kind of hazy as well. Um, it would be good to know that. It would be really good to know that, because then at least we can establish a better timeline of events. Um, but it's looking, I mean, yeah, I was thinking that because of the stuff that, Jessica was putting him through. So, but oh, have you talked to this lady? Oh, that's a good question, Detroit. Yeah, that's a good question. Have you ever talked to Joni personally? Has she ever came to talk to you at all? Yeah. See, he didn't talk about Joni much at all. Yeah. I mean, and it could have been where they didn't spend a whole lot of time together either. I mean, it really could have been. Um, yeah. So, I mean, but it just seems like they were more familiar than she's letting on in certain ways. So
Her to feel safe and to go to at least 2 to 3 times a week, even if it was for that 5 minutes. If you're still a teacher's aide, I didn't want to keep you up too late.
No, I'm not. I'm retired.
Okay.
I'm retired.
Yeah.
So
that must be nice, huh?
Yeah. Well, no, because now I'm living with my parents. My dad's on hospice and my has dementia. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's not great.
Just working at a different capacity. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with me and letting me get to know him through your eyes a little bit.
Yeah, I hope I was helpful in some way. I think about him all the time, and I always just pray for the best, whatever that may be. I don't know what that is, but I pray for the best for him.
Okay.
Yeah. I appreciate
I'm
you
gonna
putting the
do
effort
my
in.
best, and you're still there, right? And like, right there in the trailer park, correct? Yeah. So I'll be out there Thursday morning. You'll probably see us all roaming around a little bit. Thursday morning, we're gonna start at 10 o'clock at the Family Dollar right there. He was seen there, I know, at 8 a.m. I'm just kind of retracing.
Oh, I thought
his
it was
steps.
Carl's. Okay.
Well, he was seen at the Family Dollar, behind the Family Dollar, by the dumpsters at 8 a.m. by the general manager
Oh,
there,
really?
right before she was gonna open up or whatever. That's how she remembers that. And then he was seen at Carl's on camera at 8:21. So that kind of makes sense. Like, they're super close to each other,
Right.
And then at, I think it was 9:28, his little girlfriend, she's a minor, so I'm not going to obviously talk to a minor, but
right.
I guess her phone pinged him on Life 360 there by Sewer Plant Road about 9:28, that they pinged his phone out there.
Up by my
place? By your place, yeah, 10:32.
Okay.
And you said you'd just seen him the night prior, correct?
I'd seen him the night Easter Eve when I got home from Easter.
Eve. So that's
I was driving down my road to go to my house, and I saw Devlin walking, and in all honesty, I was like, damn it. 'Cause I was tired, and I didn't.
Girl,
yeah, I didn't want to.
I've had the moments. Don't you worry, girl.
Yeah.
I know. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well. Okay. Well,
All
good
right,
luck.
honey. Well, you have a good
night. House.
Yeah.
Thanks. I'm staying at my parents, so I will not be at my house.
Okay.
All right. So whenever Piper was talking about going to the trailer park, she's like, I will not be at my house. I'm not sure when she retired, and I don't think anyone has ever spoken to her parents or anything like that. It seems like that was a new thing, that she was going over and staying with them, yeah. Yeah, I think so too. I think, well, I mean, look, he lost Bill Tait, right? Which is his dad. He was very sad about that, guys. He really was. And then also with the stuff going back and forth with Jessica, and then there were times where him and Tammy were going back and forth. I mean, Matt, he just seems to be a bully. So he was going through a lot, so yeah, well, and that's the thing. I mean, I don't think she's being 100% honest, I don't, Kiki, I don't. Yeah. Um, yeah, absolutely. Well, and that's the thing. I mean, when did she decide to go take care of her parents? I don't know how long she was doing that, or if she was going back and forth, and then she decided with this happening, she's gonna, you know, so. Yeah, I did hear that as well. Thank you, Tamara. Yeah, her dad has since passed away. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so she might even be, you know, I don't know if she would move in with her mom, or have her mom come stay by her. Um, so hey, Ann Brock, good to see you. Um, has anyone went to the school and questioned them about Joni and checked into her background? I mean, I would think the police have. I would think, because I just don't think they kind of believe everything that she's putting out there. I just don't. I don't think they believe her.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
Sounds
thank
good.
you. Okay. Good luck.
You too.
Okay. Thanks.
Bye bye.
Okay. Bye bye.
Are we going? Hold on. Doo. Yes, girl. Why don't we're gonna go for 6 p.m. my time, which would be like 4 p.m. your time. I didn't want to bother you today. I mean, I think that you could come on here and join me on here. But everybody is looking for it tomorrow on both And I can have you up in the box on my TT and video on here, which is a whole lot easier. Yeah, so it'd be 4 p.m. your time. Technology illiterate. I'll FaceTime you and I'll walk you through it a little bit. We won't do it tonight. Well, today is, like I said, is about your daughter. It's her birthday. You celebrate that and worry about that right now. And that is not what I wanted, an empty joint tube. Well, because I think everybody, and that way I can talk you through TikTok, and it's so much easier that way for me to be able to go live with everybody that way. We'll do it tomorrow, girl. I'll give everybody something to look forward to tomorrow. And I'm tired. I'm gonna smoke a joint. Becca's case was the first one I've helped with, you guys, as well. To that extent, 6 years ago, my brother was murdered and he was missing, and we had to kind of do the same thing, and we ended up finding him as well. But
Okay, guys. So I think that's I don't think Joni, that was the end of their conversation. So I won't play the rest of it out. But you guys can go watch this video if you'd like, without my commentary. And also try to analyze Joni, because I mean, look, I don't think the police would be dropping that nugget if they didn't want us to look further into her. And I'm not saying go with pitchforks outside or into the trailer park or anything, please. But I mean, just let's listen to what she has said and take it in, kind of analyze it, because we do have to look about every option that we have. And we need to really pinpoint what's being said. I think that is important to do. Um in any case. So, and I mean, Devlin just it's very difficult because it's hard with us not knowing exactly where he decided to go that day. Like if he went walking, you know, where did he go? Why was he going over there? Was it a job? Was it a girl? Because we do know that Devlin, had a lot of girlfriends, and so um I know. I know. Yeah, Tammy, I know. The house phone. Yeah, I know. Well, and I know that yeah, it's because of everything. Um, I mean, it's all of it. There's a lot with Matt, and I understand that he was the last one to speak with Devlin, right? So that is one person that I would really Oh yeah, I will. Hold on a second, Women's Warrior. Sorry, give me 1 second here. So this one is let me go down here. All right, here's Lori's. All right. Yeah, because Lori is going to be the one to, tomorrow. The next day, this is Piper's going to go see Lori. So the one with that we just watched with Joni, that one was the day before. Just so you guys know. Okay. Well, I just had it. Now I lost it. Oh, teacher's aid. There we go. Okay. But yeah, and then Jessica also comes in at the end of this one too, but um the one after this, Jessica talks about how there wasn't any job, that she didn't know that Lori had, offered him a job, which, I think, in my opinion, that Lori, didn't offer him a job, in my opinion. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just saying that that doesn't add up for me, doesn't add up for the family, or nobody knew about it. So, but, um, all right, guys. Well, I appreciate you. I know. Yeah, Piper's brother was unalived. Yeah. Yeah, that's why she started getting into this Detroit. Um All right, guys. Well, I will hop off of here now because I do want to do a day show tomorrow. I want to continue on with the coverage, but I think I want to do a quick video about Gannon's, well, about Gannon Stauch and his situation with Letitia getting a new trial. I reposted one of Grizzly's videos because it seems like the DA is trying to stop some of this that's going on with the new trial being granted. So we'll see what kind of unfolds there, but I do want to continue on with these comparisons, and oh good Kiki, thank you. And getting more into, the comparisons with Sebastian Rogers' case. We're gonna get some insight. I mean, if I can get it up, actually, it's kind of early. If I can get the one part up of Al's interview, maybe we'll do that instead. But I think you guys pretty much understand what's going on with Letitia. Is she's been granted a new trial because there was a biased jury or implied bias. The judge ruled in a way that he shouldn't have in that case, and now she's being granted a new trial. So we'll see what kind of unfolds. But I do want to get that next interview with Al out just so it's fresh in all of our minds, and that sort of thing. So, but yeah, we're gonna also be covering Zachary Vidal on on Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern time, and Jules is going to join the panel with us, so we're going to be able to answer or ask her some questions. Tamara, you're more than welcome to come in also for that, because Jules will be on the panel and you can ask her some questions about because her dogs are trained to find a lot of different things. I mean, she's got the narcotics dogs and things like that, but she also has cadaver and electronic. I don't know what the technical term is, but you know. Aw, thank you, Christmas Swan. You guys are so sweet. Thank you guys. Thanks, Kiki. Yeah, blue hearts for Devlin. We're gonna continue on with Devlin though, because I do need to get Sabrina's interview up as well, for Piper. But I was gonna do some comparisons in there. Um, with my interview, because a lot of the things that we talked about were the same questions, but I just don't think I'll have enough time to get that out. Because the interview that I did with Sabrina was like 4 hours, so we went over a lot of stuff in that one too. Good night, Tamara, and also we're praying for Sabrina, um, and just the whole family. And I appreciate you being here as well, because I mean I know it's just you guys have been just going through a lot, and I just appreciate you being in here and answering questions. And um we're gonna figure this out. And then also I'll be praying that we can get a venue. So I really want to see if we can't get a venue, so that way I could share that out too. But Heather Marie's been doing such a beautiful job on all of that stuff. I saw your post on Facebook. We just want Devlin to come back home. We just want him, we want to know where he is. So what happened to Devlin? Where is Devlin? Let's find him. And I love you guys all very, very much. I hope you have a great rest of your night, and I will see you all this afternoon.